My brain's splitting off in so many different directions. My brain's splitting off in so many different. My brain's splitting off in so many different directions that no one has the answers to. My dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Things upset me. What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? Questions that no one has the answers to.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast. Almost did it again, Gary.
This is Monster of the Cast.
I'm sorry.
This
is Days of Future Cast.
You keep apologizing like I'm going to be mad about it. And I
yeah.
Just for listeners, it's not like I like yell at Jeremy for stuff like that.
He doesn't yell.
I just dock his pay.
He just tells me in very quiet terms how disappointed he is.
Yeah. I just write a letter. It has to be in writing or it doesn't count.
Fucking goddamn idiot. I can't believe you ruined this podcast that way. He
ASMRs
ASMRs me. It's what he does.
Yeah, I ASMR you a note. I fly out to Louisiana on a jump jet and I leave Post-it notes around your computer.
Oh God,
with the name of the show.
Please get COVID tested before you do that. That's all I'm asking.
No. Well, I get COVID tested to make sure I have COVID. And then
good.
then I do it. Yeah. So, oh man. Yeah, we're talking about Good Omens Part 2.
Yes.
X-Statix, Part 2. With a really trippy Mr. Sensitive versus the Anarchist blurry cover.
Yeah, I like this a whole lot. There's all kinds of weird shit happening in the background, it seems like, where like he's like flipping around in random poses. Like this is good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How Mike Allred doesn't often show motion, and when he does, this is how he does it.
And we pick up where we kind of left off, which is the O-Force, which is this new rival team of superheroes having gone on their first real mission, which was to rescue a bunch of B-list actors and actresses from some terrorist. And of course it was a success because everybody was paid to be there. But O-Force maybe didn't realize they weren't supposed to murder everybody there. And the dialogue is that's their fault for being schmucks. I don't think we use schmucks enough in 2020, to be honest with you.
I love that they're rescuing Burt Reynolds, Eddie Murphy, and Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Here in the background. There's another celebrity cameo that happens later in this issue. That's just great. The name of this issue is How the Superhero Business Works. And the person watching this, kind of doing this commentary, is Solomon O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
I love he's got the spinner rack full of X-Force comics.
It's extremely good, dude.
That's incredibly good. I've always wanted one of those Hey Kids comics. Spinner racks.
I have a lot of good memories of buying comics off that rack. So
yeah. They got the second mission. They've done their first mission to success and they're getting tons of offers. He's turning them down until the right one comes along. And then it finally does.
Yep. And he meets a cop who sets him up with with a new mission, which is what we know to be Arnie, who is kind of taking over this town. After he explains what is happening, which is like this mutant kid is, controlling this entire town, we switch over there and we see that Arnie is taking out his vengeance on his music teacher by twisting the music teacher's hands up into like weird polygonal shapes.
Like weird Pablo Picasso.
Yeah,
like cubisms his hands.
And his mom rushes over and is like, "Hey, you've already manipulated his inner ear and his vocal cords, so he's tone deaf and he can't sing. Like you don't have to take away his music either." And he's like, "You need to dial this down." And like, I'm not a kid. Like we can, I understand what you're saying, but I'm in control here, basically.
Yeah. Try not to interfere so much, Mom.
Yeah.
And he does it threatening her, like, you weren't exactly a perfect mother. Sometimes I'd see you and you're wishing I was normal. The teacher said, like, he says, "Meet me in my office tomorrow and we can discuss your recent behavior," to the teacher. So he's like an absolute terror. He's just walking through town. There's a part where he's like, "Good afternoon, Mr. Clancy," to a guy who doesn't have a mouth anymore, who recoils in terror and just goes, "Ooh," because he can't speak. Super scary.
Yeah.
Shit. He's also created Britney Spears' head on the body of a Dalmatian.
Yeah. I mean, he's a teenager. That's kind of what teens are into. So
yeah, just Dalmatian, Britney Spears centaur.
Sure.
Overdrive going on here.
And that's the reason she can't control her money till today.
yeah, exactly. Dogs can't count money. Dogs can't open a bank account. Have you ever seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Yeah.
The 70s version where the guy, the homeless guy gets his head on a dog's body?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it looks just like this.
Just like this. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. But he's basically doing all this shit to the town. He's like, eventually, I see a spy helicopter. They know about me. They're going to send in X-Statix.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that only X-Statix can handle. I'm going to be able to confront them about killing Edie.
Meanwhile, X-Statix is in the middle of a civil war because Venus de Milo, who has teleportation powers, hasn't quite, really nailed this just yet. So she teleports them right in the middle of a war zone. So they have to... So Guy has to run her down a little bit, and Tyke is like, "Hey, yo, Edie used to do this shit all the time, and he never said a word to her. So why are you saying this to Venus de Milo?" Then it's time for a bunch of fight scenes.
Yep. During which he actually hallucinates Edie's face on a dead girl. Again, it keeps happening. People around him, kind of morphing into her. He says this is another piece of sanity gone in the civil war that's going on in my head. The anarchist is posturing here. At one point Miles says, "Is this mission covered by the Geneva Conventions?" And he's like, "The Geneva what?" As he throws a bunch of sweat. The team is falling apart. He shouts to Billy Bob. Billy Bob tries to get fat and he can't. He's basically, that's just a phase. It's obviously a little bit of a joke or can't get it up.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And then we go back. We kind of as they're going through this fight scene, it zooms out and we see somebody watching this on a TV, and it's Solomon O'Sullivan. Boy, I'm going to get that wrong 45 times in this podcast. Specifically watching Venus de Milo and being like, "Hey, I have a contract with her. Get me the lawyer that looks like a starving timber wolf with rabies, and we're going to sue them basically."
Yeah, that's Sharon Ginsburg, who we're going to be introduced to soon. The team, we go back to the team. They've beat all the terrorists, but there's a dirty bomb there that they think is about to go off. They're about to teleport out, but there are too many civilians here. So Guy tells Venus just to take it. Tyke is like, "That's crazy. This is a nuke. She's going to die." He's like, "No, that's the job."
Which is
she's supposed to do this,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. I love this thing with Tyke's like, "I'm going to go with her," and he grabs him by the back of his pants. This little frame where he's holding onto Tyke's underwear.
This thing that just lives in my mind since I saw it for the first time. It's just really hilarious that he's about to give him a wedgie, and I think that is fucking hilarious. Yeah. What does a superhero wedgie look like?
Totally, a super wedgie.
Mm-hmm.
He punches him, and Tyke at this point says, "Yeah, do it. Throw that weird martial arts shit at me. Why aren't you doing that? That's what we do. We fight each other. We fight and get bloodied up, and we feel better." He's still trying to, and Guy calls him out on this. You feel guilty about Edie dying. You want me to punish you for it. You can't just drink yourself to death. You want this to happen. Don't expect me to do your dirty work for you. As they're having this fight, Venus de Milo teleports back. And she's soaked with water and she's shaky.
Yeah. And she loses control and explodes. She's kind of freaked out and blows everybody away from her in this weird wave energy kind of thing, which is kind of strange and what the fuck is going on with this girl, right? What the hell is going on?
Mm-hmm. We come back to everybody teleported out. Everybody's hanging around the thing. I love Guy Smith wearing the suit. They just draw it as all solid black.
Yeah.
I think this is really a sharp look.
All of the fashion in these scenes in particular are really good. I'm kind of digging what Dead Girl's doing with the weird halter top and pants and stuff. It's a cool. There's cool designs happening here.
Yeah, good fashion. They're discussing fat, and he's basically saying, we believe that your inability to access your powers is because you're denying your true self. With his homophobia. Guys overhears him and is like, "Yeah, that's basically it. that's the same thing that happened with Edie. She can use her teleportation powers until she acknowledged her daughter. Tyke tries to apologize, and Guy doesn't accept it. And he's like, this is fine. I'm not going to be waiting for him when he comes back.
Yeah.
He goes into Venus's room where her skin is hanging on the fucking corner of her bed.
This is so creepy.
Every morning there's a Venus hanging on the corner of my 4-post bed. This is super creepy.
All right, Tom
she
Waits,
is just this,
dial it down a little bit, all right?
that's Sugar Ray, man. Tom Waits.
Tom Waits did it originally. Sugar Ray was the cover.
That would be incredible if that were true.
Every morning there's an halo hanging from the corner of my 4-post bed.
Yeah.
I took my last cigarette.
But this is incredible. Like she takes off her suit and then she lives in this like egg, this dialysis machine that cleans between her molecules that Professor Xavier invented.
Fucking outstanding. Just absolutely outstanding.
So weird. Like, that's so cool. I bet you that feels good.
Dude, I mean, like, I feel dirty just thinking about somebody getting this clean, right? Like, I've never been this clean in my entire life. Since I came out of the womb, I've been filthy now. That's how I'm...
This is what it's like to live without original sin.
Exactly, yeah.
So he asked her out for dinner. Basically, she explains what happened. It was the bends. Like, she went down to the bottom of the ocean, came back up too quick. So she was, pressurized. They go out to dinner. We see Tyke and Dead Girl hanging out where Tyke is basically quitting. He's like, I'm through with this shit. Like, I'm going to make my own name. Here, watch. Let me show you how this country works. He smashes this jewelry store window and goes, you think the cops are getting called? Let's cut to 10 minutes later. And then it cuts to 10 minutes later as they're congratulating him because it's good publicity.
Yeah. He's welcome to smash into our store anytime. Like, it's bonkers.
I love that meta.
Yeah, and he says, like, what about you? Like, do you want to live a little? Like, do you want to go a little crazy? And we cut over to Venus and Guy at dinner, and it's just people like taking pictures, and then they start throwing eggs because all of these Edie fans are like, you're a slut and a whore for stealing Guy and all of this stuff. And Venus and Milo is not prepared for this, and she kind of calls Guy out on this. It's like, you knew this was going to happen. Like, why did you put me in this situation without any forewarning? And like, you're not, like, we don't have to be a couple. Like, I wanted to go out to dinner with you because you're the leader of the team. Like, not because I'm attracted to you. Like, how arrogant are you, basically? Really good stuff here.
Yeah,
like,
and she's right, because he's being a shit.
Yeah.
Him just being like, well, this is somehow how it is. And it's like, you don't have to warn me off you. Like, what is your assumption here? They get interrupted here by Spike, who says, like, look what O-Force is going to do. Here's this town and this mutant kid named Arnie. Mr. Sensitive recognizes that. That's, he's been having these audio hallucinations of him. And Spike reveals, like, the Sullivan thought that he was getting special intel. It was actually one of my contacts. I fed him this bum gig, because rule number 1 is you never go against a kid.
Yeah.
This is going to be horrible for O-Force. Which we're going to see in the next issue. The issue ends as Sharon Ginsburg comes in and says that Venus de Milo cannot be on the team.
Yep.
Has like a cease and desist. So over the course of this arc, like, it's going to be, the various members of the team getting kind of, gerrymandered out of it or quitting or anything, and then having to be brought back together for this big threat.
Looking forward to the conclusion of this arc a whole lot, because I like all of the places that it goes. I think it's super interesting. This has just been like, I know I say this at the end of like every single episode we record now, but like, this is just so good. Like, it's just so easy to read. Like, it's relatable characters. They're doing interesting things. Like, it's not typical superhero stuff, and it's not even like, specifically making fun of that, which I think is a trap that your Frank Millers can get into.
Garth Ennis.
Yeah,
Frank Miller, Garth Ennis and stuff.
Ennis, yeah, like, it's not like, it's people that genuinely like superhero stories writing superhero stories that just aren't the normal superhero stories, and I think that's a really important thing.
One of the things, yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I like about it is it feels like similar to approaches that we've taken on the network for things. Like, I think that Peter Milligan recognizes what is funny and dumb about superhero stories. but still likes them. So it reminds me of like our tack towards the animated series or something, you know, where it's like, yeah, we're going to make fun of this, but also there's genuine affection there.
Yeah.
So he has real characters. He has genuine affection, but he's also like, yeah, it's silly that like in this world, there wouldn't be Wolverine t-shirts, because of course there would be. You know, what would that be like? Oh, there would be people who take advantage of this just for fame. There would be reality shows about this, like opening the door that Grant Morrison opened by having like Mutant Town and having this expansion of mutants really does mean that there would be this greater culture. And I love that about it. I also love that it is real kind of like X-Men stories that deal with all this shit, but have no, it's freed from like the fetters of continuity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if the X-Men were going to do this story about this kid, like this Arnie kid, they wouldn't be able to do it like this. Like they could do the story like that Ultimate X-Men where Wolverine just goes and, you know, kills the kid, but it wouldn't be this like what's going to happen with him where O-Force goes in and gets slaughtered and has their own little Boys R Us massacre, you know, and we're just innocents. Like I feel like the X-Men wouldn't do that. You know, they would try to prevent that first, or like it would be a lot of like Cyclops kind of angsting about how that was his fault, you know, or, you know, things like that. It would be more serious than this ends up being. Like plot elements in X-Statix like kind of do their job and get out.
Yeah.
In a way that I really appreciate. Like once you can kind of vibe to the heightened kind of reality and the kind of detached element of it, then like it's very efficient.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, more so than even like New X-Men, which I loved, right? But this is more efficient, like because it is so self-contained. I don't think Peter Milligan's like a better writer than Grant Morrison, but I do think that it's like it does go down way smoother.
I mean, for as much as New X-Men kind of set itself apart from the X-Men canon, it was still very much a celebration of that. Whereas this feels like, no, we are going to go in totally new territory. Like we are going to go in this completely different direction. And if this comic universe, if 6116 wants to follow us down this path, like they're more than welcome to, but we're not beholden to any of the bullshit that you guys have been doing besides, you know, randomly mentioning Professor X wants to make us fuck suits. So like,
yeah.
And I think that, I think that, you know, that's like, it's just, and it's so refreshing to do that. And it's something that Marvel, you know, doesn't really allow a whole lot. It reminds me a lot of reading, like those first few trades of Runaways, where it was like, here's this like fresh take on what comic books are, what they can be. And even that book, like later got mired in fucking Marvel bullshit, right? Like it just kind of became a samey book. Whereas this just feels totally new and fresh, like every single issue. So I'm all into it.
Yeah. It's a really good comic. It still remains one of my favorite comics.
Yeah.
So, we do have some kind of like less good arcs coming at some point.
Yeah.
It's been pretty much all killer at this point, but there are a couple things that feel a little fillery. They're still fun, but these first two arcs of the new run and the last arc are just like absolutely great. Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
We'll be back in a couple days or 2 weeks, depending on how much you love us. If you patronize us, 2 weeks. If you don't, a couple days.
That seems like a bad deal when you say it that way, Gary.
I but it's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make it sound like a bad deal though. You should patronize us though, because it's great.
It is.
Get episodes early, access to the Slack, and you support your boys.
Yeah,
support all of us.
And it does support a bunch of folks, so we really appreciate every single person that does that now. You can also tell your friends. We're gonna be raising money for charity and doing some fun streams for Duck Stream this year, sometime in December. Me and Gary will be covering the New Mutants, the finally released X-Men movie, the last X-Men movie.
Yeah, the Fox is doing at least the end of an era. What a mixed bag,
dude! What a handful of movies.
you know, it'd be a fun live episode thing to do for would be to rank them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to do that at some point? Like, I feel like that's a good.
I could rank
locale content thing.
Yeah, like I mean, especially because I wouldn't feel the need to want to rewatch any of those to rank them. Like,
oh, no. Like, part of doing for the show has been I've been able to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, I have definitely said goodbye to X-Men Origins, the Wolverine.
Unless you were talking about watching all of the movies live with an audience and then ranking them afterwards, in which case 100% down. I would very much like that.
Like this 28-hour film fest. It's like
that we do not have the rights to.
Yep. And could not sell tickets to.
No, absolutely not.
And like watching all those in order is be fucking amazing. There are ones I will watch again for sure. Like it's not like I'll never watch Logan again.
Yeah.
But
I actually really need to watch Logan again because I have not seen it as much as I want to. We should just cover it again. Well, fuck it. Let's do another episode.
Yeah, fuck it. Well, there's also that connection to New Mutants. Did you notice that?
They talk about Professor X a lot. I don't remember seeing a specific. Did they mention something about like the event or the X-Men or something?
No, the some of the visions that that Moonstar have are actually clips from Logan.
Oh, okay. Well, I must not have been paying attention very good. So
yeah, it's real weird. Like it's not it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just like oh shit, weird. And in the end, during the credits, it confirmed it, like, you know, Logan on loan from us.
Fucking
Fox.
Absolutely hilarious to me that movie is 90 minutes long and like had so much cut out of it, and then they still put up clips from a different movie in it. Like, and I know it's just I know it's just like a setting a vibe or whatever. Like, right? Like it's probably just real easy, kind of a cool like not cameo, but like a cool little Easter egg for people in the know. But like hilarious to me that like 2 of those 90 minutes were probably from another movie. Fucking great.
Yeah, 95% original content.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back in a couple of weeks or a couple of days, depending on how much money you've paid Gary Butterfield, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.